a big pain in their butt and I tell them what I want, and they listen to some degree.
Do you see Tesla going higher from the current levels? It's at 167 today.
I don't like this idea.
Billion-dollar fund manager Gerber was just on TV and he shared his latest thoughts about Tesla's stock. We will also dive into some interesting new developments about the refreshed Model 3. Let's dive in.
New CEO for Twitter. What are you thinking here?
Oh, man, I was so excited, Nicole. I mean, I've been pushing for this since day one of when he took over Twitter. And not only did he find a CEO, he found a great CEO. And what a coup for, Twitter to steal NBCU's, top head of advertising. And, she's just an excellent, executive. And I think will be incredibly complementary to Elon's skill set and is exactly the type of person he needs to get not only advertisers back to Twitter, but give him more time to focus on Tesla as it goes through this crucially important time for the company.
To be fair, though, I don't remember a single period of time for which Tesla was going that was not crucially important. With Tesla, there's always something important going on.
As you said, you were pretty happy about it, and I think that was a reflection of all Tesla shareholders, because we did see Tesla move higher, though today it's pulling back. We know that he's also raising prices on Tesla. What does this mean for Tesla? Where do you think, you always were a Tesla fan and an Elon Musk fan. Do you see Tesla going higher from the current levels? It's at 167 today. Where is it headed and why?
Well, I think Tesla's story is a little bit less about Elon having a little bit more time with Tesla and a little bit more about the fact that they started raising prices in the car, and where the car price goes, so goes the stock. So if Elon continues to have to lower the car prices and margins, the stock can't go higher. And if Elon's able to keep prices steady or even increase prices, that gives a bottom in pricing for Teslas and margins, and it gives investors, I think, a little bit more confidence to buy the stock that they're not going to miss earnings over the next several quarters. But ultimately, the main catalyst for Tesla is launching a new product, and that's the Cybertruck. And the sooner that happens, the better, and that's what all eyes are on for Tesla.
Just now, 2 days ago, Tesla increased prices again for some of the vehicles. For example, for the Model Y in the US by $250. I was, of course, expecting this. If we look at the inventory levels, yesterday it did increase for the Model Y in blue, but today it has come down again. So that could be indicating another price increase very soon. These price increases for the Model Y will obviously help the Model 3 as well. We have an important development for a refresh Model 3. See how these covers fall right here? You're supposed to have a stock here, and then see how he swipes and then starts moving, clearly indicating that he can change gears without touching any stocks. So probably there's nothing on the right side, but on the left side, maybe there is something. It looks like there's maybe something sticking out, but I really don't know. But very clearly, he did change gears here. This, of course, is just a prototype and things could change, but we are probably pretty close to production, and this strongly suggests that the next generation Model 3 is not going to have any stocks for switching gears. One of my friends has a Model X, the new one, and he absolutely hates that he has to switch the gears on the screen because it works 9 times out of 10, but that one time where he misses the swipe somehow is really annoying because usually he is in a rush, then that happens. I'll need to go find a Model S or X without the stocks to go and see for myself. Is it really that big of a deal?
I mean, what do you think about the back and forth of lowering the prices, raising the prices? When does that become frustrating for shoppers?
Well, it became frustrating for shoppers the first day he lowered the prices because he lowered them dramatically after a lot of people bought cars in Q4. And many of them, new Tesla customers, felt very burned by such a dramatic drop in pricing. But also this idea that we want to sell cars in the dynamic pricing model, like airline tickets or hotel rooms or concert tickets. This is not, I think, a great way to sell cars because consumers are sort of whiplashed with prices, and consumers are sort of used to car prices being somewhat stable for a car. And I don't like this idea.
New radical business practices are often controversial, and this one is very controversial. If Tesla is planning to cut prices every month, then yeah, maybe this is not a great idea. However, in the long term, if prices stabilize and Tesla just adjusts the price maybe once a year or twice a year. I'm talking about bigger changes. Some smaller changes I don't think anyone really cares about these that much. I mean, Tesla just increased the price by $250 for a Model Y. If it lowered it by $250, I don't think any customer would be like, ugh, I'm never buying a Tesla again. How dare they lower the price $250 1 week after I purchased the vehicle. But if you cut the price by something like $10,000 more than once a year, then I think there is going to be some seriously upset customers who bought the car right before that discount. One of my friends actually bought a Tesla, and he swore, and he's very deep into technology, so he wants the latest and greatest thing, even if it costs an absurd amount of money. He wants the latest and greatest in terms of the technology. He swore he will never buy a Tesla ever again because he bought it and then Tesla dropped the prices by quite a bit. I think it is important to pay attention to what people are saying, but often people say one thing and then they look at the reality and then they like, oh, yeah, well, it's still the best deal and it's the best car. Yeah, 10 years later, when the time comes to buy the next vehicle, maybe he will buy another Tesla, but I'm not sure. He was really upset, and it's been already many months after the purchase, and that is still his stance, and he is insisting on that very strongly. You will always have upset customers, but it is important to understand, is this widespread, or are these just one-offs? It would have been nice if Tesla maybe offered free full self-driving for maybe 1 year or something like that to these customers. I mean, if they didn't buy it yet, then I don't think it's likely that they would upgrade in the next 12 months unless Tesla actually solves full self-driving. But in the long term, I think this dynamic pricing model, I don't think it's a bad idea because it eliminates all of the dealers. So you can either have a dealership network where you're going to make the car more expensive by many thousands of dollars. And I have a friend who works at a dealership, and that friend told me that the dealer makes about $5,000 on average per vehicle sold, and they sell relatively average cars. You either go with a dealer, make your cars more expensive by about $5,000, or you go with this dynamic pricing model where you will have customers upset, of course, but then you go to a dealership and you buy a car. Have you ever felt where you somehow just did not get screwed in the deal? Even if you seemingly get a somewhat good deal, you still walk out of there thinking, how did they get me this time? I think overall, having this sort of dynamic pricing model without the dealership network is a net positive. Tesla just increased the price for a Model S and X 2 days ago as well, but I think they decreased the interest rate if you finance these vehicles.
By the way, I'm looking at the price changes. The first part, the handle, right, for the most part is staying the same. I mean, it may be $1,000 difference on the biggest vehicle. The Model X Plaid went from, now it's 108 versus 107,000. I mean, big deal. The other ones were in the same range. You're talking dollars, less than $500 difference. It almost seems kooky to go back and forth like that. And it does squeeze margins when he does that. I mean, you almost wonder why he did it in the first place. Whatever.
Correct.
Anyhow, I mean, when you think about, you really have to wonder why he did it in the first place, because, I mean, it's very much my understanding from speaking with you and so many analysts that Tesla is still the front runner. You have other competitors. You could say Ford and GM, you could say BYD, you could say Volkswagen, and whatever other company that's like the up-and-comer or the Chinese competitors, but they're just not pumping out the vehicles in the same way. So does Tesla hold the leading spot, especially because they're making batteries, and it just seems like they are the front runner for some extended period now, going forward.
Yeah. And like a lot of businesses like that have the dominant position that Tesla has, which I compare to Apple, maintain margins no matter what. And, everybody, when Apple raised prices on the phones over $1,000, a lot of people thought they wouldn't pay for this, But what we do is we see new phones every year for $1,000, and they're not that different, but it's a new phone every year. And that's what Tesla needs to do with their cars as well. But they need to maintain a margin and say 20% auto margins is where we're stopping no matter what. And if we can't sell the car at this margin, then that's just too bad. And now they're using other methods to create demand. See, before Tesla was always able to fulfill demand because the supply-demand imbalance was so much. But now with competitors and Tesla's volume so high, that they actually need to create demand. And I think that's still a reality that Tesla is like grappling with. And they did a couple things this week, which I think are great. But you can't keep changing the price of a car constantly. Set the margin in at 20% and lower the prices if your costs dramatically decline. But other than that, it just seems like a very confusing pricing system.
One huge positive that I see from all of this, though, even if, let's say, this turns out to be the wrong strategy, is Tesla's willingness to experiment. And that sometimes leads to discoveries of very lucrative business practices. If Tesla is not willing to experiment anymore, that means it may, of course, still keep growing consistently, and many investors would prefer that. But I would rather have Tesla run some wild experiments, and then a few of these are going to turn out really good, although many of them may fail. That, of course, makes the stock price a lot more volatile, but I think that creates a lot more value in the long term.
So the Cybertruck, do you have a date when that's coming out, when we should expect to see that with our eyes?
Well, they said this year, so my guess is 11:59 on New Year's Eve, we're going to see the Cybertruck.
I did totally see where Ross is coming from, and I'm not really going to disagree here too much. But sometimes Elon really surprises us with his timelines. He said he would find the next Twitter CEO by the end of 2023, and then before the first half of the year even ends, he announces that he found a CEO for Twitter. He said she will be starting in 6 weeks, but now it looks like it's going to be happening a lot faster than that.
Yeah,
okay.
But
we'll see about that. I mean, Rivian came out. There's a lot of excitement pertaining to Rivian's pickup truck. People like it a lot, but I mean, on the scale of it, it's minutia versus Tesla. I mean, they're talking about what, 50,000 units for Rivian by the end of the year, something like that, right? Do they need that?
It is. And it is a niche market because the car does price, let's say 90, 100,000 or above. So they're really focusing on the mass affluent or higher end consumer, which Tesla is sort of seeding now, focusing on the mid and lower end EV mass sales. That said, Rivian is the most sought after EV here in Los Angeles now. It is not a Tesla. Teslas are everywhere, and they're almost like looking at Fords now. So a lot of people are really liking the Rivians because they're seeing them on the road. They're beautiful cars.
Did you just say it is the most sought after vehicle, not a Tesla? It's a Rivian that everybody wants?
Yeah, they want
this is a game changer now. This is a game changer. That's a game changer.
Everybody has a Tesla. There's so many Teslas. You get on the road, it's every other car. So it's like you see a Rivian, it has.
A buyer? Would you buy Rivian stock here?
No, we're not owners of Rivian here. I love the company, but they're not yet at a point where I'm comfortable with their business model. So we'll see how they do over the next couple months in ramping production and lowering costs. But the brand is excellent, and I think there's an opportunity in here if Rivian can get their operations correct.
Well, I certainly do understand the sentiment that Ross has about Rivian there, and that people want to buy Rivians in LA specifically. But also at the same time, if I ask most guys, would you ever want to own a Ferrari? They would say, yes, probably. But they cannot afford it. So Rivians, I don't know. They're pretty pricey vehicles. You may want one, but can you afford one?
I mean, when you think about PE ratios, Tesla is like astronomical compared to all the other automakers, right?
Well, it's not an automaker. I compare it to Microsoft and Apple, and it's still higher than Microsoft, It
is very interesting. Just when the host attempts to throw stones at Tesla, they show a picture of Elon in front of a Cybertruck with the window smashed.
So Tesla trades at 40 times earnings. Microsoft trades more like 30, and Apple at like 28, and Google's at 25. So Tesla does trade at a very premium multiple in the market.
Yeah, but I don't think their CEOs are saying that very companies are going to 5x, 6x, 7x. Elon has strong conviction in that, and not only that, he has a pretty strong track record of doing things like that over and over and over again. This article is from 2017, and 2 years before then, Elon Musk outlined a plan how he thought Tesla could get to $700 billion in market cap. And lately, we have been trading roughly in that range. So, if you see what Elon sees as well, I don't think you look at Tesla and say, oh, this is too expensive.
What if he announces a CEO for Tesla? I mean, he's got a CEO for Twitter now. What stops him? What is that, the chief twit or something? Like, what does he call, whatever he calls himself? I mean, are we going to have a chief EV maker, you know, for, maybe he'll step aside.
I just don't see that. You know, of course anything's possible, but I saw this move with Twitter is really so that he can refocus a little bit more time on Tesla. But I think Tesla is the most consequential business that he's focused on and has the most direct impact in helping humanity with climate change being such a main issue, and it is such a big part of his net worth, and his compensation is so tied to Tesla. You know, I just don't see anybody being a better CEO for Tesla than Elon, and I don't want that. I want him to be CEO of Tesla. So I think there's just a lot of rumor in the market, but I think he isn't going anywhere, and I think that's what I hope.
I agree with Ross on this one. Now, Elon may step down and he may no longer be the CEO, but it appears that he would be committing to spending more time at Tesla even if that happens. Therefore, I don't see it as a negative, I see it as a positive.
I have to give you kudos. You called it. You called it when he was going to take over Twitter. You called it when everybody said, no, it's not going to happen. Remember, it was like the 5420. I mean, I really got to dig back into my brain here because I was standing at the post. But you stood by it and you said, no, he plans on doing this. Is what he plans on doing. And he did it. He made his moves. Found a new CEO, which is also, you know, what you said you wanted him to do, and here he is back at Tesla. So I don't know. Do you have a crystal globe or something? What's next?
No.
All right.
No, I'm a big pain in their butt. You know, I'm a big pain in their butt, and I tell them what I want. You know, and they listen to some degree. You know, so I'll take it.
We know you want him to stay. You want him to stay at Tesla. So
yeah, I want Tesla to be wildly successful as they have been. You know.
I can certainly appreciate this frank exchange and Ross saying that he has been quite a pain for Tesla. Exchanging ideas, I believe, and debating them is important. And usually, Tesla looks at ideas from Ross and says, so, no. But at least this way, everyone knows Tesla has heard all of us. And if you heard something interesting watching this video, click the like button and subscribe. This video explains why Tesla board members are not buying more Tesla stock. My name is Matt Posius, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.